put that money right back towards advertising as well for this, because as soon as we launch that budget, holy crap, my friends, like this is going to grow so well. So let me go back. So I did get to show these systems as well. This is the article though, guys. This is the behemoth. This is the most important opportunity for all business owners and professionals everywhere. And I hope we all lean into this, because this study does not exist, and it has to exist, guys. It would change the game for all of us. All of us could overcome the fear of marketing and knowing how to move our business forward. So does marketing spend predict business survival? The SBA publishes recommended budgets 7-8%. The BLS, the business. Somebody help me out on that one. I remember it, but the Bureau of Labor Statistics. There we go. Tracks failure rates. Nobody has connected these two mechanisms. Here's why that matters more than any benchmark you have ever been given. So there's a study that should exist, but does not. A straightforward question that should have been answered decades ago, but as of this writing, remains completely unaddressed by any major institution, university, or research firm. So I'm going to skip ahead on this because you guys are going to get to read about this, but I'm going to talk about it from a very high level, which basically means, why have we not looked at those businesses who took that advice, asked them, did you follow this advice? We don't have to ask. You can use IRS reports, you can use revenue reports, and look and see what did they spend. And then we could have an idea of, did the ones who spent 7-8%, did they lose or did they win? But it's arbitrary right now. But because these institutes are so big, and because every Google search and every AI recommends it, people fall into what's called the agentic state, and they just believe it because everybody believes and talks about somewhere between 7 and 10%. And I say everyone in your regular life, not VC firms, not high growth companies, not the ones that have scaled to billions, none of them follow this advice. This is the worst advice you could possibly have in business. And so let's go down and look at what that reason is, and what the sources are for that. So again, SBA 7-8% with zero outcome. So that's like telling you, hey, follow our map, but we don't know if our map is going to get you to the destination. That's not okay. That's why so many businesses are failing and families are being ripped apart by this. Gartner, same thing. VC growth benchmarks, VC firms tell you 20 to 50%. And this is for their own portfolios. They have a vested interest in getting this right. And there's Kellogg's, pizza. We're going to go down a little bit further here. So the only category I don't like on this, and thank you to Andrew Paytow for pointing this out, this is way too low. If you're dominating your market, by the way, the dominators, they freaking spin like crazy because they want to stay ahead. They don't want to be derailed. Tesla experienced this with BYD, and it talks about it in one of these articles about how they did not advertise. And Elon Musk has always said he doesn't want to advertise. He doesn't like advertising, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they've been advertising like crazy the last couple of years because somebody's finally come along in their market who's an actual competitor, and they need to stay ahead of it. And so when market leaders rest on their laurels and decide to pull back, they're going to get eaten alive by somebody else. Somebody's going to come in and take that market share. And it's usually the new businesses or the existing, or the established and growing businesses like Facebook's of the world. But like TikTok came in and boom, it took off. Why? Because it invested very, very heavily in Dropbox. I said 100% of its revenues right back into what it does. So all of these realities, again, the only thing I don't like about this is that it's saying 7-10% down here. But my friends, if you don't have a business and you don't have revenue coming, you don't get to percent. You don't get to do a percentage. You got to freaking fund your mission. You got to get after it and invest. And I've got a great article on how a bunch of entrepreneurs did just that as well, and how they had to grind it out and they had to embrace the suck on that. Just like the military says, it is so important for us, my friends, that we fund our dreams and our visions. Otherwise, we've only got a pipe dream. We're not actually building the infrastructure necessary to be able to win in the market. And so here's what's really cool about this, and here's what's really, really important for all of us. I asked Claude to help us take action, all of us together. And so down here below, once you've informed yourself and you've seen, and you don't have to agree with me on this, but if you'd like to see that data so that we can have more pragmatic guidance on what actually works in business and get more to science, because right now it's all the guessing game across the board. Consultants and marketers, they just say what you want to hear because everybody says 7-10%. So a question that 33 million business owners need an answer to. You've read about the problem. You've heard about me talk about it. It's time to do something about it. So I included an email template that you can send to the institutions, the research firms, the media organizations, and the universities best positioned to conduct this study. And the letter is diplomatic, it's respectful, and invites them to be the heroes who close the gap that affects every business owner in America. So please take action on behalf of all of us as business owners so we can get the data that we need. And right here it says, to whom it may concern. I am writing to bring attention to a gap in the research landscape that affects approximately 33 million small businesses in the United States. The Small Business Administration recommends that businesses under $5 million in revenue allocate 7 to 8% of gross revenue to marketing. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that roughly 66% of businesses fail within 10 years. Both data sets are publicly available and widely cited. To date, no published study has connected these two data sets to determine whether following the recommended marketing spend correlates with higher business survival rates. The most important question in business funding has never been formally studied. I believe your organization is uniquely positioned to raise critical awareness of this reality and or conduct or commission this research. A longitudinal study matching marketing expenditure levels with survival outcomes could fundamentally change how millions of business owners make their most critical financial decisions. For more context, I recommend the original article and source of awareness that examines the gap in more detail. This research initiative was started by yours truly, H. Jackson Calame, founder of First Class Business. The best way to reach me is Jackson at firstclassbusiness.io or via LinkedIn. The business owners who follow common institutional guidance deserve to know whether that guidance has been validated against the outcomes they care about most. It could be the difference in them joining the 66% of failing businesses in America or improving the global economy at scale. The more organizations you send this to, the greater the result will be for every business owner who comes after us. My friends, I asked Claude as well, please go gather those institutions, their contact information. So you have all the government institutions. These are the institutions that publish the recommendations and track the outcomes. By reaching them directly, you help them prioritize, finally connecting the two data sets. Research firms. These firms already have the survey infrastructure and data access to conduct this study, and being the first to publish the findings would be a landmark moment for any of them, and I would hope that they would reward you for bringing this to their attention. As well, once somebody grasps and is like, oh, cool, oh my gosh, we should do this. AI companies. When a business owner asks an AI, how much should I spend on marketing? The answer comes from the same unvalidated benchmarks. These companies have the platform to change what gets surfaced to millions of users overnight. We've got to get the AI companies, Google, search engines involved in this process. Media and publications. Media is the most powerful lever to elevate awareness and inspire the institutions that hold the data and act. In other words, if these institutions act on their own, the media would be able to understand the value of this, and they would be able to start creating enough traction for this concept to realize that, wow, no, entrepreneurs do want to know this information, so let's start publishing more about it until something gets done and we finally get a study about this. One published story from a major outlet could accelerate this research by years, and here's how to reach every single one of them. If I send it by myself, I am not going to be noticed for this, but if they get hundreds of emails from entrepreneurs who care about this and professionals who care about entrepreneurs enough to do this, my friends, we can change the world and create economic success for all these brands in a way that nobody's ever been able to do before. Universities and academic research. Universities have the research infrastructure, the census microdata access, and the academic incentive to publish findings that could reshape how 33 million businesses make their most important financial decisions. If you've been affected by this gap in the research, all of us as business owners have, whether you followed the recommended benchmarks and struggle or invested differently and saw results, consider adding your own story to this email. It's so important, guys. Tell your story why this matters. One person does not inspire action, but thousands of business owners collectively sharing their experience and raising their voices to the institutions that guide us will not be ignored. So join us and create the change that we all need. This has been such a fun process, my friends, of building this out, of, yes, of course, increasing the amount of subscribers that we have as well, but also creating awareness around data that I haven't been able to pinpoint and point out. Like I've known it. I've known that this is a reality because of what I got to see working at Video Power Marketing with Jake Larson and being behind the scenes on John Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire's campaigns and Michael Hyatt's and T. Harv Eckert's and helping Dr. Eric Berg go from 160,000 subscribers to 14 million and working with Laserway and helping them go from 8 locations to 40 locations. I got to see things with Lewis Howes and how he built his webinar out and Billy G Marketing and beyond and all these different companies that we get to work with. I got to see things that most human beings never have the experience to see from a success standpoint. But the leaders who have seen it, they haven't studied it. And so it's time to ask them to help us get the studies that we need to level the playing field for all business owners out there and make sure that we're doing what's necessary in order to truly compete in this market. Help me do so. And let's crush it, my friends. Subscribe, like, comment, let me know what your thoughts are, and I will see you on the other side.